All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the August 28th, 2019 meeting of the East Long Meadow Conservation Commission. Pursuant to Mass General Law, we are recording this meeting for the minutes, and LCAT is taping the meeting. If anybody else is recording this meeting, please identify yourself and your organization. Okay, hearing none. Next item would be the call the roll. Commissioners Jernstrom, Bosworth, O'Brien, and Sampaccini are here. Mr. Sheets is not present this evening. The first item on the agenda is approval of the June 26, 2019 minutes. I've been over them. I didn't have any changes or anything. Anybody else?
No, I thought they were good.
I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the June 26, 2019 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Same for the July 10th. I didn't have any issues with those or any changes. Anybody else?
No.
All good. Entertain a motion for the approval of the July 10th, 2019 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
First item on the agenda, new business, is a request for a certificate of compliance for 112 Nottingham Drive.
So the plans that go with that. There's three different ones.
There is a letter in the file from GZA, and essentially it's that letter is saying it's greater than 100 feet from the wetland resource area. So essentially it's a non-jurisdictional property for us. Based on that, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the certificate of compliance for 112 Nottingham Drive.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We just grab one of these out of our packet to sign.
I have two for Jeff to sign. Yeah, that one. There's two copies.
Oh.
Okay, there's the first group.
Unless it's one more.
No, there's two.
Oh, yeah. I believe we really need to have Tom back here to proceed.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion for a 2-minute recess.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is a request for determination of applicability for 5 Lennox Circle to remove 3 trees on a .60 acre site. That is area subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. Applicant is Thomas Gardner, 5 Lennox Circle, East Long Meadow.
You can sit right there, sir. Right there. If you just state your name and address for the record.
Thomas Gardner, 5 Lennox Circle, East Long Meadow, Massachusetts.
So you want to cut down a couple trees.
Yes.
It looks like the filing was good and everything. Did you have any drawing or anything by any chance?
I've got some pictures of the trees,
Okay.
if that's a help, and I've got the public notice.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you want to see the pictures?
Yes, please.
Okay. you want me to just pass it around? Or you want me-
Sure. The river actually runs behind your house, correct?
There's a brook.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And they're within the 50 feet area, the buffer zone or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm. It is technically classified as a river.
I don't believe so. We call it a brook. It's a small...
Yeah,
Just a-
but there's water in it.
Oh, yeah.
All the time, so it is technically classified as a river. This is just kind of a
Oh, yeah.
FYI
Yeah,
for your
okay.
information thing.
In past years, we've had dry
It's a-
periods where, it's completely dry, but this year, it's been running constantly.
Yeah.
That's one. I mean, if you flip over, you'll see the other two. I have two dead trees, the one with the V in it, and one half's already fallen off on one side, the other half is completely hollow, so it's dead. Then there's another one that's closer to the house that is completely dead, and then there's a third one, a tree, and it's pretty
How close to
thick.
the river is it?
Huh?
How close to the river is it?
The one with the V is like 4 or 5 feet. The other ones are closer to the house.
We looked at those when we were out there for tank order, remember?
Pardon?
We looked at those when we were out there for tank order, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, I just had something.
Oh,
That's the whole thing.
home button, then hit camera.
Were you planning on
Right here.
removing the stumps too?
One stump is going to be removed. The one with the thicker one closest to the house.
Closer to the house?
Right.
The ones that were closer to the river you were planning on leaving?
Yeah.
Condition I was gonna
Francis, can you pass that?
That was the condition I was gonna reach out this time.
No problem.
Minimum soil disturbance.
Thank you.
Questions or comments from the board? These are the ones next to the Tanglewood property.
Yeah, I figured Lennox
Yeah, right next door.
Circle,
Yeah,
and I figured number 5, like, it's gotta be the first house
Right
on the
next,
right.
yeah, right.
yeah, the trees are actually between the two properties.
Oh, is that right?
We looked-
One of the trees is, closer to the property, the two together, but
Yeah.
the one on the right is a dead one. Yeah.
Yeah. But the only comment or stipulation I would make would be that, minimum disturbance of the soil, so, this.
Of the-
Of the soil,
Oh, yeah, look,
so that the stumps would remain for where possible.
the ones closest to the brook will remain.
Okay.
Yeah, and the one close to the house, it's a thick one. We're going to take that one out. If I could ask a question?
Yeah.
What about dead branches on other trees? Do I need permission to cut those? Not the trees, not even touching the stumps or anything like that, but if there's a dead branch, is it possible just to cut it down?
There is a provision in the act for what they call vista pruning.
Okay,
Just to do
okay.
some things like that, so,
Okay,
yes.
okay, fine.
Mhm. Any other questions or comments from the board?
No.
I would entertain a motion for a -3 determination. Is the work described in the request is within the buffer zone as defined in the regulations, but will not alter an area subject to protection under the Act. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of a notice of intent subject to the following conditions, if any, which we could just add the stumps that are closest to the river shall remain.
Yeah,
Yeah, and, obviously, if you disturb any of the soil, try and put seed down,
Oh,
and some hay maybe, or,
well, when the stump is taken on the big tree, we'll definitely put the seed in.
yeah, try and get it stabilized as quickly as possible. Yeah, other than that, I'm good with it. So you're looking for a motion? Are you,
Yep.
for a -3 -3, you said?
Yes.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want a copy of that public notice?
Aye.
Do you need it?
No, we're all set. Thank you for coming in and thank you for doing the filing.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we'll have that information for you, okay?
Usually I mail it out tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, good, we're good, yeah, thank you.
Just on my way, we're still on tree business.
Did you want a copy? This is the
Thank you.
second copy.
You're welcome, have a good night, thank you.
Take a look at it.
Yeah, Chris, tree ball.
Chris is not friendly.
The next item on the agenda is a request for certificate of compliance for 30 Heritage Circle.
Jim, sorry, I would've called.
Okay, so this was a request for continuance. We did contact the attorney today to see where they were. We did not hear back. The person who is addressing this matter is on vacation, so you would be looking at a request for continuance to the next meeting. They're looking for their supporting documentation.
Entertain a motion to continue this request to our next meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And Sherwood Lane, that's the one that was taken off, right?
Yeah.
No, they're back.
No, Sherwood is not off. Sherwood
No,
is
Sherwood
on.
is not off. Next
Sherwood.
item
Oh.
on the agenda is a request for certificate of compliance for 9 Sherwood Lane.
You can make a decision. So they have a request for a partial completion. In research, in doing the research in regard to this particular lot, there were 2 phases to this development. The second phase, there was never a request for determination of applicability nor notice of intent filed with phase 2, which is where this site is located. That is under discussion. So Attorney Merkin and the counsel for the other party felt that we would want to simply memorialize that this lot falls out of the limits of jurisdiction, doesn't fall under the original notice of intent. So what we're going to do is a partial release, because that notice of intent covers the entire subdivision, even though there were 2 phases.
Oh, by partial meaning that piece?
This particular
Yes.
lot, yes. Yeah, and that way, moving forward, there will be something recorded at the Registry of Deeds. In the event that another sale occurs, these people won't be starting at square one again. So it's a partial release for 9 Sherwood, also known as lot, what lot is it? Where's the file?
75, 76, 40.
Do you have the file? Do you have the application so they can?
Did you have a copy?
I don't. Do you? Okay.
Parcel number?
There you go.
75,
Okay.
76.
Okay, so here's your request, and where's 8B? Did we not get 8B, the response?
Oh, I gave it to Jeff.
Okay, so Jeff has, so here is the request for the certificate of compliance, and you have the findings page, okay?
That's the June minutes. I guess there was 2 copies of those, so. All right, this is 2 copies of this. So, 75, yeah, this is it.
You good with that, Craig?
Hmm?
So are we voting on that, or you just?
Yeah, I was just looking at this, I was just seeing it, but I didn't spend a lot of time reviewing this before, but
Sherwood?
isn't there, there's no partial certificate of compliance, a different form, but,
Yeah, it's on here. You can do a complete or a partial.
okay.
So you're going to specify that particular parcel, and then The attorney will record it. It'll run with the land. It'll be good for memorializing historical records.
So we're gonna list this parcel, so
Does that get retrofitted into the original notice?
I would assume it goes into the file, yeah. So essentially, we're looking at doing a partial certificate of compliance for 9 Shoreward Lane. Just one parcel in this development. There is a letter in here from Smith Associates saying it's outside of the wetlands buffer zone. Based on that, I'm okay with this, and I'll entertain a motion for the certificate of compliance for 9 Sherwood Lane.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So we can just check partial certification and just have 9 Sherwood Lane filled in on that.
for the parcel number, right?
Oh, yes.
You can do both.
Do both.
Do both.
This is for,
Next one is I'll entertain a motion to continue 244 Shaker Road to our next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
In order to expedite things here, we have project monitoring and other business coming up. I will entertain a motion to take the agenda out of order and have the discussion with the letter with Alice Woodmore of 81 Howards Road.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi, Alice.
Hi.
Now I know what.
Craig, I gave you the, I think I gave you the pictures that she submitted. I put it into one 11x17.
pass those for signatures.
I question the fact that not all of that water is running through the easement. It's running through my property where the two lots meet.
Mm-hmm.
The easement was never dug deep around the two lots that I have. And so it runs from my house about 200 feet, and then it runs to the left. Between the two lots, where it goes across the street, where there's the swamp land there,
Mm-hmm.
and the other people's property is getting wet, and then it flows down into the swamp.
And these pictures are in your backyard, correct?
One is the easement in the backyard, and the other two are where the lot is. I have two lots next to my house,
Right.
and the land is a little bit low where the water runs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because when the houses were built, KB didn't need that land, and because the sewers would have been so much higher, they would have had to fill the lots. So they really weren't careful about how the water ran, because they owned the property for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years before they went bankrupt. And that's when I bought it. But now, these people, they didn't make a hole in the ground to hold the water. What they did was they brought in the Redstone rocks without any sand or gravel, and they brought a machine up to roll on top of it so that it crushed the rocks. So actually, the ponds that they're making are more or less just a filtering bed for the water, so it will run down along into our easement. All the ones I've looked at in Springfield and East Long Meadow, the people have dug holes in the ground so that the water sits there and dissipates into it.
That is the way that basin is designed. It is supposed to hold the water until it just dissipates and/or evaporates. The only time it would be discharged out of it is in the quote-unquote 100-year storm.
Right.
But I guess what concerns me about these pictures, and it appears to me that this runoff has a lot of the red clay in it,
Yeah, right.
which, so evidently it definitely appears that the erosion controls aren't doing their job here. Because I'm going to assume that there wasn't red clay running into your yard before.
No, we never had anything red, but this last storm that we had really.
Yes, it's been a pretty wet year.
Right.
We've had some issues with water
And
at a lot of other locations
We've always
too.
had water that came down, but it was clear.
Right,
But it was never as much as we have now.
yep.
Because before, there were trees and things to help absorb it, but now they've just leveled the whole land and then they've put those rocks on top. And I have a picture of one of the machines that it's not very good, but the machine that, they put got on top of it to crush it.
Yeah. We've been out there quite a few times. I've probably been there a couple dozen times since it started.
Right, but they never look at my side of it.
Sure. Yeah, you should have one in your packet. Yep.
Tony wants to look at it.
There was a one marked.
I just brought one.
Comments from the commission?
Oh, I see that? Bethany.
I think she emailed them.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, I remember that now, yeah, you did email.
The filtration barriers are not doing their job. I mean, we did have pretty excessive microbursts. And to Alice's point, I'm sure the trees, there's no trees, so they're not soaking up the water, so that exacerbates the problem. But, I mean, aside from improving the barriers, the temporary barriers, that's just a,
Do you mean these people don't have to dig a hole in the ground?
well, I think that's part of the plan.
There is, that is
part of
under
the plan.
construction right
Yes.
now. There
But
is
it's
a large basin
There will
going in
be
there.
a basin in the ground.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
there is a retention basin that's supposed to be built there.
Well, the way they put those rocks, it's pretty hard to understand how they're gonna get a machine down in there to dig a hole. But they leveled the whole thing, they had it nice and smooth, and then they brought all these rocks in, and then they crushed it. And then they made another one further on up, so it doesn't really appear that they were gonna make a hole.
Yeah,
And that was my concern.
and a lot of times there is, some runoff or something like that during the construction phase.
Right.
But in my personal opinion, this water's red. And so the erosion controls are just not doing their job here. And so that is a situation that needs to be addressed and they need to be improved.
Can I address the commission?
Yes, I was just about to ask you
All
to
right.
speak, Al. Good evening, Al.
Hello. You ready for me? Did you have anything else? I don't want to interrupt your
No,
your
I
work.
don't.
All right.
Do you want me to leave?
Oh, no, I want you to, I'd like you to, this is actually for everyone's benefit. This is
That's
where the pictures were taken, right here.
This
This,
we're taking right here, this is
this is your house
this
here.
is my backyard
Right.
here, and I have a picture of the easement. And down here, I have two lots, and this is where the water was flowing across. Not up here, it was flowing across there.
Yes. So, so far on Hidden Ponds Drive, we have started the retention basin. It's not active. There's no pipes going into it, there's no pipes going out of it. There's no asphalt's been put down yet, so there's no impervious surfaces. There's no more water leaving our site than has ever left the site. In my experience, when you cut the trees down, water tends to stay on the property because you've disturbed the soils. We often, after we cut the trees, we often get pools of water in areas where we've never had pools before. Every time the stumps were pulled, every place you pull a stump, it creates a little cavity that'll hold water. We disturb, the surfaces are all disturbed, whereas before they were hardened surfaces. This is all redstone. It gets hard when it dries. After we clear and stump what we've done, it breaks it up. I think that if anything, there's less water leaving the site. And I've seen these pictures, and those pictures are disturbing. Now the question is, where's the water coming from? On Redstone, and this was a very heavy rain. These pictures were taken after a huge rain. So Redstone Drive, this is drainage. I hope everyone made it big enough so people can see it. Can you see this? None of Redstone Drive has storm basins. Everything, this is about 1,000 feet of road, comes down to here, drains down this easement. Both sides of the road. There's a culvert under the road right here. So this side of the road collects in a culvert, goes under the road. This side, 1,000 feet of road, all drains to here. The easement goes down to here, follows this fence along the edge of this Redstone property, follows, oh, well now you might see it better here. Here's the same place coming down. The easement goes here, then the storm water is channeled down to this easement to the low spot. This low spot floods whenever it rains. And that's why this colored area is from the online mapping from Oliver. I'm sure you're all familiar with Oliver. This is an intermittent stream that runs right through the area where the picture was taken. This floods, it becomes a river. The intermittent stream comes through to here, and it's actually all wetlands back in here. It becomes the tributary to the Schneelock Brook. So this area is basically, it's a wetland, it's a swamp, it's always wet. And it drains, there's water into here, drains down from all these lands. There's a small street here called
Dearborn Extension.
Dearborn, yeah, thank you. Dearborn. I don't know how Dearborn got approved, but
The extension, Dearborn
the
extension.
extension, yeah, there's no drainage in it. They were
There's
never.
a retention.
There's a
basin.
retention pond, it all drains to that, and then my guess is that also comes, well, I don't know, I'm not an expert on
There's
that.
always water in that retention pond because the people complain about it because of the mosquitoes. And I actually saw the water flowing from your land onto mine. Yes, and it was as though you took a bucket and you poured it. So
Yes.
there was a lot of water that was coming through it. And my lots are not wetlands all the way around. It's only where the easement is and across the edge.
Well, it
Because
was,
that's all sand in there.
well, this is wetland flagging right here, Arlevec Associates. When we first looked at this property, we were hoping we could access the property by extending here. We looked at it very quickly. This is all, the wetland flags start right up on here, go right onto this lady's property. This whole area was flagged by the wetlands as being wetlands. It's, anytime you go, it's always wet, right in here, it's always wet. So yes, there was, now, after we got those pictures, I go, wow, look at all the dirty water. So then I went out and inspected. We have silt fence going from here to here to here to here, all the way around. It's very easy to see when silt fence fails, especially if there was a large amount of water. There's nothing failed in any of our silt fence. So wherever the water came from, wherever the colored water came from, I don't know. It may have come from this right here is just, I don't know if you can see this, this is the drainage ditch on Redstone that collects all the water in Redstone. It's just dirt. So that's dirt. It's dirt all the way back to here, dirt all the way back to here. I can imagine that when you got a river running on dirt, it's gonna get dirty. And then that all collects right here.
But it's not
And that-
gonna turn red.
Well, it depends what's in the dirt.
I'm gonna say that, you know, I know, like I said previously, we have had a lot of rain, but the amount of red clay in that water is very disturbing to me. And I'm gonna say it wasn't happening before, and I wouldn't attribute it just to the amount of rain that we've had. We've had a lot of water, so yes, maybe that's why there's a lot of water on the property, but I grew up in that neighborhood. I never saw red water back there, because when I used to walk through that yard all the time and go out to the court.
Okay, it came from somewhere, the question is where then?
I have a
Correct.
theory.
I have,
It's red pan.
yeah,
So it's clay, it's not absorbent.
right.
So you get excessive rain, 2 inches per hour or an inch per hour, it's gonna pool because it's not going into the ground. It's not implausible that it could have just went right over the top of it in large areas. And it's a construction site with red pan, all that dust, all that red clay, it's gonna turn that water red and it's gonna wash in sheets right over the top of that erosion barrier.
And
it probably is
on top
coming
of the
down.
silt fence?
Well, I'm assuming it's
It
not.
could
No, it's not
over-
going over the silt, it would flood, the silt fence would flood
Not
over.
necessarily if it goes in large areas, it pools and pools and pools, becomes like a lake, and then washes in large areas. And it probably is going down that
Well,
area.
there's no area that, we haven't changed anything that would cause that.
There's nothing you can do, it's just one of those circumstances.
Well, yeah, I'm not the end all and be all on erosion control or anything.
Sure you are.
But I walked it, it's all intact. And we didn't just put up the silt fence the way I've seen some people do it, where they just pound the stakes in, and then the flap is on the bottom flapping around. It's all trenched in, all in this area right in here.
So I'm sure it's a
Day after I
combination,
brought-
it's probably that trench you talked about, that's coming down the end of Redstone. It could be, it's all pooling in a giant lake-like fashion, and then washing over the top. Not channel,
well, that
where
could-
you're gonna see failure, it's like a large pooled area.
Oh, well,
That's
that
gonna
could
happen in
be.
a hard rainfall, and then it's gonna wash over like it would wash over a dam. Then you're not gonna necessarily see it, but you're gonna see the red wash. You know what, it's a construction
Regardless-
site, that doesn't surprise me in the least bit, given the microbursts we've had and the excessive rain. I'd be shocked if it wasn't like that.
The day after I brought those pictures in, my neighbor up the street saw them putting more dirt along the black stuff that they had put up there. I did see the water flowing out of that property.
And
About
what
like that.
I'm gonna say is, microbursts or whatever that we've been having, if this property didn't have the construction going on it, it wouldn't be like this.
100%.
It wouldn't, right. So, then, plain and simple, there is an erosion control issue that needs to be addressed here. I think we need to go out there and do a site visit, perhaps.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perhaps, we need to look at having a consultant come in, but what I'm thinking real quick is if that culvert and that ditch starts right on Redstone, perhaps the silt fence needs to be extended all the way out to the street, because it
But
could
that's
just be
nothing,
run.
that's nothing I've done. And there's been no construction there. That's something, that's how the street is designed.
So that drainage ditch that you showed the picture of is not on your property, or is it
No,
on
it's
the
not
property
my
line?
property,
Where is
no.
it?
It's on this person's property right here. Oh, no, excuse me, I'm in the wrong. It's on this person's property right here. He gets flooded.
Yeah.
And it
channels
floods
right
all
down
the way
behind it. Yeah.
down in here, and it floods back into here, and then it drains down in this section.
Yeah, because I remember they came in the very beginning and they were complaining about the water, that they were already having runoff down there.
But
Before the construction.
And the-
But regardless, somewhere, somehow,
But it doesn't-
clay is
it's-
migrating off the
Right.
construction site
Well, it doesn't matter
into
if it's
Mrs.
coming.
Woodmer's yard.
It could have
It
come
needs to be
from any
stopped.
of these, it could have come from any of these homes here, it could have come from any of these homes here, it could have come from any of these homes here, it could have come just anywhere down Redstone.
Yeah, we can resolve with a site visit.
Right.
Like you
I just
said, it'll
don't-
present itself.
Yeah, any of these places, there's probably 15 or 20 other homes that could have been doing some sort of excavation work that would cause erosion.
I guess I'd like to see it, because this just appears to me that it's an excessive amount of clay that's coming through. It's a Red River, it's not a little. You know, and obviously, if something like this was going into the quarry, we'd have an issue with it.
Probably has to some degree for years. That water's always channeled right down that road.
That's why they had to
It's
stop
bare.
quarrying, was
Yeah,
because
I
of the
mean, when you
red
get a
water.
property like that, you can have all the erosion controls in the world, and it's gonna be hard to stop that to some degree. I've seen enough construction sites that, you know, it's just like a perfect storm type thing. We can go out there and inspect it, though. If we find insufficiencies, then we'll, you know, we'll have to have Al correct them.
And I understand, I guess, your point, Tom, that it's hard to stop, but it's our job to stop it. Like I said, if this was going into the quarry, we need to stop it.
That's why we want to do a site visit and
Mhm.
figure out a plan. Maybe we'll find evidence of where it came from. Could be as Al's saying, maybe he's not responsible for all of it. There's, you know, until we look at
Well,
it.
yes, I mean, perhaps we need to look around at the other houses in the neighborhood and that sort of thing. Obviously, some of that involves getting permission from homeowners, but I don't see a tremendous burden with that. We should be able to do that.
You should be able to track it.
Yep.
One other comment is, I'm not sure it takes a whole lot of silt to color the water. You know, that's a strange color. That's not really even the color, it's almost like, it almost looks like paint.
There's also nothing you can do about is dust. When you're cracking rocks, it's gonna put dust everywhere. When you have rainfall, dust, wherever it exists, beyond the
Yes.
filtration barriers, everywhere.
Well, there is,
gonna-
I will say, there could be dust at some time.
Okay,
When is
I
this-
just wanted to say, you know, we all assume that, you know, right now, that's a large construction site. So something ran off there, whether it's dust or all, we had a hard rain, and I'm assuming there's no other construction except for your large site. So I've gotta say that it's coming from there somewhere. Especially in that area where it's low and it comes down like this into a V. And it all must have ran off from those top lots up there into there. Is there anything gonna be built in there to prevent this afterwards when those new homes
Yeah,
are
the
being put in?
retention pond.
When's that gonna be done?
Well, the retention pond's not contributing anything at this point, because it's not
Oh, no.
It
active.
doesn't exist.
It
doesn't exist.
right now, they're doing this, they're putting in the water main, then they put in the storm lines, then they connect the storm lines to the retention pond, and then they pave the road.
Okay.
There's gonna be 3 houses from my house on, which is where this property is.
Mhm.
Through the chair. Do you have a construction schedule for the completion of the retention pond that you?
No, just the order that we do it in.
Do you think it will be done before December?
Yeah, oh yes, I'm told by, that we'll have asphalt down by the middle of October, is what but that might be optimistic.
That's asphalt for the street?
Yes,
Okay.
but
Because,
it may go later than that, but that's not contributing to any of the erosion.
When does the commission want to schedule a site visit?
No, it's convenient for you guys.
I'm not available tomorrow after work. I am Friday or on the weekend.
Friday afternoon's fine with me.
Fine by me.
Yep, what time?
5:30?
Sure.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Friday at 5:30, we'll be out there.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to come on our property if you want to.
And you can come and look at mine.
Everybody's so
I would appreciate it.
courteous.
So are you meeting at Alice's or are you meeting at Hidden Ponds? Where are you going to meet?
I would say we can go to Hidden Ponds. Yeah.
Bring boots.
I always do.
You do.
Yes, I do. Still in my vehicle. Where are we now? Going back to the order of the agenda, Hidden Ponds was first on the list for project monitoring. I think we kind of covered things there.
No, I had actually requested to be on the agenda going back almost 2 months now.
Excuse me.
And then there was one meeting that was canceled, and then the last meeting was rescheduled, so I do have something I'd like to discuss on it. If you're ready for that? In fact, I sent everyone an email on it. I don't know why, it's been so long that you may not recall the email.
I was just gonna say how long ago.
But it's regarding the orders of conditions that were issued, and specifically the special conditions.
Oh, yep.
And I know it gets very confusing on the special conditions, but it seems like they weren't, the committee votes special conditions, and then they get approved, and it seems like the special conditions had every one of them had some mistakes. And some of the mistakes were just obvious, just mistakes. But then I don't want to, when I go for the certificate of compliance, I don't want the commission looking at the order of conditions and reading things in there that don't make sense and trying to straighten it out then. I'd rather just look at the condition, look at it and straighten it out now. They included some conditions that were never approved or voted upon or even discussed by the Conservation Commission during any of the hearings. And some of the conditions directly contradict what was approved by the Conservation Commission. And then, when I read the conditions, I then re-watched all of the hearings from beginning to end, and I made notes of exactly what conditions were added and compared what the, and then first you make a motion to add the conditions, then you make a motion to vote on it, and I compared that to what was actually listed in the order of conditions, and there was some discrepancies.
I remember your email now.
Some of them were just
And
silly.
I agree with some of what
Some
you
of them,
presented,
and then-
but I can't remember all of them.
No, I can't remember them all either. That's why I have to write them down. And I tried just to make it a little easier for everyone. Are you on the commission?
I will be.
Okay, no, well,
If you don't have copies.
I don't know how many I've got.
Yeah, give it to them first.
And the ones that, I wrote down the special conditions, and it's the ones in red that don't seem to, were the ones that no one mentioned during any of the public hearings. And I don't think it's possible to add them after the public hearing. I think everything the commission does is during public hearings. But if you start at the first one there, special condition number 16, if you just read that and even try to tell me what it means.
That's.
I mean, the way I read that.
That's the whole special condition?
Well,
There's no
yeah,
relative
it says
dis-
that there's no, that they're not allowing any lawn in the 100-foot buffer, in the entire 100-foot buffer area.
Yeah, 100%, you're right. That's,
So that means there'd be no lawn around the house, there'd be no lawn behind the house, just shrubs everywhere.
I don't recall that. In the conditions though, I'll have to go back and look at the meeting.
I think we were talking,
But
we did discuss
essentially,
that, but not that whole area.
essentially what we were looking for, the revegetated with the native plants is where the asphalt was coming out.
Yes, so that, I mean, does that even make, did anyone vote that? I recorded the votes. If you want to hear what you actually said.
I believe it was voted on after the public hearing, when we did the conditions. All of the lots we did approve them.
Right, you did approve them, but no one ever added the condition that I couldn't have a lawn around the house.
Oh, this first part?
Yeah, I'm just looking at special
Yeah, number
condition number
16,
16. I'd like to have that removed.
Okay.
Does anyone have any objection to that? So just remove number 16, that was all. And then, so that can be removed. And then, on number 17, special condition 17, if you just read what was highlighted in red, that doesn't make sense. It says,
I believe that should be 17 and 18.
well, it should just be deleted altogether. That wording actually related to lot 17, not lot 16. Because it,
Oh, 17 is where the pavement is?
yes, no, there's no pavement.
No pavement, Tim.
No,
No.
it's not about the pavement. This is, there is some,
You're talking about limiting that corner back here so it would go around.
just on special 17, just the part that's in red, to match the limit of work lines in lots 16 and 18. Because we're discussing lot 16, so how does,
Is this it?
I believe that should be 17.
it shouldn't be any of that, it should just stop after 25 feet. It should just be increase the limit of work from 10 feet to 25 feet, period.
What do you mean by going over keeping it north from here over to here? Keep it even? This part, this part where we're gonna take it from 15 and come across like this, keep it even? That section there. So it would entail 15, 16, and part of 17
This is
right in
16.
here.
This is 16.
This is 16,
Yeah.
right? Well, we were gonna take it from here, I thought.
No, that was
And
the,
keep it even?
No, that's
That was-
lot 17 that
that's
you're,
at 17 to 18.
Oh,
I mean, the wording in red was just applied to the wrong lot.
Well, I'm gonna, yeah, because the pavement, the asphalt is on 17, right?
The asphalt is on lot 16.
It's on 16,
So when we put up our
the
silt
original
fence,
house, the
we're
house
gonna be,
that's there.
no, it's, the lot 16 is not the lot
Lot
with the
says
house.
Right,
16.
it's got- and the two trailers.
17 is the lot with the
17 is
house.
the house.
And here, so here would be the cement and concrete right back here against the pond.
I'll show you where the asphalt is.
Yeah, it's right here abutting the pond, right in
No.
here.
It's gonna be back here.
Right here. Here's a diving board, it's here.
This is, the only asphalt that we need to remove is right here. There's 8 square feet of asphalt on this side of the silt, of the limit of work.
There's a lot of it.
Some, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
somehow I'm
there-
thinking
there's
there's
a-
more.
There's a lot of asphalt
Here's
right
the
here.
asphalt is like here.
And there's here too. It's all in through here.
Because, and yeah, that's why we had it in here, we were saying we can go to 10 feet away, because we had it
Right,
about
but
10
and
feet
then,
away from the
and then when the
water.
asphalt is gone, you relocate the silt fence at the 25-foot
Mhm.
limit of work. But it's just not worded properly. I mean, on lot 16, you wouldn't match the lot line to lot 16.
Okay. No, yeah, I believe it should say 17 there.
No, we should just stay at 25 feet. The whole limit of work for lot 16 should just go to 25 feet.
Yeah, but that's saying, it's post-construction to increase it from 10 to 25 feet.
Yes,
But what we're saying is before that, you can go to 10 feet
Yeah.
to remove the
right.
asphalt.
It's just the wording in red that I want struck. It says, how can you match the limit of work line on lot 16? How can you match that to the limit of work line on lot 16?
Correct.
It's just incorrectly worded.
Okay. Next one you have
All right,
is
and the
special
next
condition
one-
number 20.
Number 20, it says, this was added to this special conditions. It says, prior to the installation of fencing, a fence plan shall be submitted for review and approval by the commission. And now, I watched the entire public hearings, and the above condition was never mentioned on any of the filings.
Correct. It was done after, when we did the conditions.
Well, the conditions were done when you vote on the NOI, the whole commission votes to add conditions.
I
And
agree.
then, after the whole commission votes to add conditions, you vote on the NOI and you approve it. And I've got a recording of that same meeting. And there was never, at no point, in any time, in any of the meetings, did anyone say you needed a fence plan. And the fence plan was included on all original filings, on all original plans. It was included on all the revised plans.
It just shows a line.
Right, it just shows the
That's
red
it.
line.
So it's-
It shows the
That
location.
speaks for itself.
Right.
It's,
Yes, it shows the location of the
I didn't
fence.
understand that one either. What does that mean, a fence plan? It showed in the
What we
plans.
talked about when we discussed this, and we did the orders of conditions after the notice of intent was approved. It was at a separate meeting. It was posted on our agenda, because when we finally signed off on it and we add some of these conditions were added. Because what we were concerned about, or I would say I was concerned about, was are we gonna put in a 16-foot high fence or something like that? But then when we were out there, when Jeff and I were out, and we met with you when we were looking at the trees, you were saying that it was in your submittal about it only being a 4-foot high fence,
4 to 6 feet high.
4 to 6
4 to
feet.
6 feet high. And, I mean,
Where is that in the submittal?
The plan was, oh, no, not in our submittal. That was actually, the fence restriction is part of our declaration of restrictive covenants. Restricts the fence height to no more than 6 feet.
That's why we probably haven't seen that then.
And then, because the fence is very important. If someone's gonna buy a house and they got little kids, they've gotta know that they can put up a fence. And I've gotta be able to tell them that, yes, the commission approved it, we showed them where the fence was gonna go, and it was on the plan.
Fencing is not, in my opinion, it's not our purview or jurisdiction. That sounds like either a bylaw, a planning board, or a covenants issue.
And it's a build.
Fencing can be an issue if they're wanna dig a 3-foot diameter hole and put in a 2-foot diameter footing,
Well, I mean,
25 feet away from a resource
I mean,
area.
who has ever done that? I mean,
And I
that's
know
just
it's
not.
being a little extreme, but so it does.
He showed a fence in the plan.
This
Like,
is,
I've never ever encountered a discussion of like what type of fencing. I mean, you could build a castle wall that could go down 25 feet, or you could put in a fence this high. But I've
Correct.
never ever come across discussions in a conservation meeting.
Okay, and that was my intent when I put this in there, because as I said, I wasn't aware of this restriction that's in the covenant. And we talked about that when we
we
were on the
actually,
site
and when we're
visit.
out there, that was added to the covenants. We've also added to the covenants that it can only, that the fertilizers and the pesticides have to be organic. Because I know fertilizers are usually organic, but pesticides are often not organic. We added some other things that weren't in the original. We added that no motorized vehicles on the pond. I'm concerned about someone, in my neighborhood, you wouldn't believe what kind of motorized vehicles people use in their yards. So we put in like no no motorized boats or no one with jet skis or no one with a snowmobile going on them.
Okay. Based on the information that's in the covenant, I really don't have an issue with removing number 20. Number 22, the plantings.
And let me show you, because this surprised me. This is the amount of plantings. This is the amount of asphalt on lot 16 that needs to be removed. This is a spray can of paint right here to give you some perspective. It's a total of 8 square feet of asphalt that's within the 25-foot buffer area. Most of the asphalt that you saw is outside of, like, the driveway comes down, oh, I don't know exactly on there. The driveway comes down, almost all of the asphalt is outside of the 25-foot buffer area. And that's why I showed you this. I'm not sure that we need to hold off on issuing an order, what is it, we issued?
Certificate of
Certificate of compliance, waiting for 8 square feet. It's an area of less than this table right here. Hold off on a certificate of compliance for that amount.
If really that small, I don't think I would have a problem with it, but I really want to go back and
That's
look
fine.
at this again.
The spray paint is
Because I
still
think
there.
that
We can look.
you had to kind of kick some more of it around and there was more
I had
asphalt, but I
to
could be
go
wrong.
there with like an ice pick.
Yeah.
And shovel off the top layer to find out where, I never knew where it ended.
Yep.
And then I was surprised myself. And then the only other thing, and this is kind of, there was an attachment that was included.
Just
with the order.
a courtesy thing to let you know recommended plans.
Right. And there was an attachment that was included showing these, I guess, the plants to pick from. And they were all wetland plants. And I'd like that attachment removed, because wetland plant, this is all upland. Wetland plants won't grow in there. What we want to plant is a native seed mix. We get it from New England Wetland Plants in Amherst, and they have a mix called New England Erosion Control Restoration Mix using native seed. We get about 2 tablespoons of seed. That's all it takes for 8 square feet.
I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think we've ever given advice on what to grow.
Okay.
Other than seek consultation from the professional.
All right, and then on lot 17, it's
Some of them I would assume were repetitive.
yes, but that you don't have that, so this is a separate.
I don't know what the last,
Lot 17, now that's the
no,
lot
you don't have it.
with the
I don't
house
have
on it. This is lot 17.
All right, so then we're done with this one.
Yes.
So did you strike 22? Or did you revise that?
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with it. I just,
Okay.
yeah. It's just similar to the other one, I wanted to see what was there for the asphalt. Yeah, see, that's why I had this on 17. Because then you're saying the asphalt's not there.
We can go look at 17. I don't think there's any asphalt on lot 17.
Okay.
But I could, I don't mind looking at it, but I think when I went and looked at it, the only asphalt that I saw inside the 25-foot buffer was on lot
See,
16.
I think I remember kicking 2 inches of dirt away and,
Well-
wow, there's asphalt there.
I'm,
And then you were thinking that too, right? Right by the house.
Right by the house, in the back,
Yeah.
that's where they sold
There is,
refreshments.
there's asphalt there.
There was concrete up against the pond.
there's concrete on the pond by the pool, but I don't need it.
inside, there was asphalt, that whole area at one time.
We can
was
look at that
asphalt.
if you
'Cause
want.
that's where the people went to the back window, they got their refreshments.
Wait a minute,
I don't think
17,
it's
is
not
that
in,
past the house?
that's not in
17 is the house.
that's not in the buffer zone area. That's out, there is asphalt that we're gonna remove, but that's outside of the buffer.
All right, well, we'll have to check that when we're out there.
Yeah.
16 is good.
And then,
17, yeah, it is the asphalt.
And then special condition number 18, it was, the wording was just wrong. It says to increase from 20 feet to 25 feet the limit of work line.
See, and that's where I think we thought the
And that's-
asphalt was 20 feet away
And that's wrong.
and
We-
needed to get moved back out.
It should be that when we're done, the limit of work line would be at 20 feet. Because 25 feet, the limit of work line would go through the house.
Okay,
And then,
and the erosion controls,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that just pertains to the asphalt.
okay, well,
again.
so we'll look at that on the asphalt. And
Yep.
same with 22, we'll look at that on the plantings.
Yep, okay. And so now you have lot 18?
Lot 18. And on that, there's no asphalt on lot 18, but lot 18 had the same requirements for plantings.
There are no plantings on 18.
Right,
Yeah.
but it was in, on 18, there's no plantings, but it was, one of the conditions added
Okay.
was on, the same thing, we already agreed on the fence not being needed.
Okay, that one's easy.
So we can eliminate that? And then, so those three, the 16, special conditions 16, 17, and 8, and 20 can be voided.
Moving forward, I think we'll be okay. Obviously, we need to do a better job checking our conditions prior to them going out, because especially this number 18 now, those items should not have been there. But what I would like to do is go do the inspections on Friday and take a
Okay.
look at this. And then I would like to, have this on the agenda for the next meeting, and we'll make any alterations or take any votes that we need to at that time.
And then, also on lots 2, 19, and 20, they mentioned the improved asphalt removal. Again, there's no asphalt on
Yep.
219. And I don't know if that's that big a concern, but then later on, when I'm 2 years from now, when I'm getting an order of conditions, it's all going to be very confusing.
Mhm.
And then, this is on lots 12, 13, 14, and 15. There's just something thrown in, looking for native plantings.
Yeah, those
And
ones
again,
have been there. Yeah.
there's no native plantings.
Just from the trees from your property, Al?
Oh, the paper, well, oh, sure. And the same thing on lots 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. It was native plantings again. That was a popular addition.
Plants.
Well,
Thanks, Al.
and that was the last one.
I haven't been out there in a week or so, but things are moving forward.
Yes.
The water main's going in and all that?
They're just about done with the water main. They didn't find as many big rocks as I was afraid of, so it went fairly well.
That's a good thing, yeah.
But we do have a lot of rocks. Every now and then I get a call from someone wanting to know if they can take some rocks, and I say, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. All right, so I'll see you 5:30 on Friday then. Thank you,
Yep.
everyone.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Al.
Email correspondence?
Okay, project monitoring. Next one is Avery Street. I did run into John a while ago, just, and I did go by and look at it. He's pretty much done. He'll be coming in for a certificate of compliance soon, if he hasn't already filed one. Bella Vista's moving forward. He's working on the road, heading back there. The silt fence and everything was fine. One of the other ones that I had was Tanglewood. I did go by there the other day, and they put up a 6-foot-high stockade fence. And essentially what he did was he started it right at the end of the new retaining wall. And it kind of just curved around and followed the contour of the wetland and came out to about 5-6 feet from the street. There was no other fence put in the backyard. The only other one I had that we really need to go by and just check it out is, unless somebody's been by Old Farm Road. Yeah,
Need to go out there.
yeah.
And another one is,
Did you say you went out there, Jeff?
no, I haven't been out there. I've gone by Helen Terrace a few times. It looks like the building's up
On Pease?
on Pease. And looks like he brought in a lot of dirt, because I thought they were gonna put a gravel in there. But it's been graded, and a lot of dirt's been brought in. And it looks like he brought the dirt level, he left the silt fence and brought the dirt in to fill up to the top of the silt fence around it. But, you know, at one point, I didn't get out of the car and walk in, but, because there was a line of cars behind me. I didn't wanna,
Right.
that's a bad place there, right around the corner. But,
Do you think he's paving it?
no, the original plan was.
Just call for stone.
Gravel?
He was supposed to just do, I thought he was gonna do gravel all the way around, but it's all dirt. I haven't seen any gravel at all there yet.
I probably brought Phil in to bring it up.
There's no door on the building yet, you know, the front's just a big opening. But it looks like the building's pretty much complete,
That's what I saw too.
so,
Okay, well, no, maybe if we have time on Friday, we could take a drive by Old Farm.
yeah, I'd like to see what's going on
Yeah,
out there.
after we get done
You
with,
wanna meet there first?
been
5
found.
o'clock?
I can't be there for 5, but yeah, if you guys wanna, be my
Yeah.
guest.
I can, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I can go out there for 5.
I'll see you there at 5 then.
Right.
Perfect. Anybody else have anything on the project monitoring end aspect?
Let's see, what else we have?
Old Farm, 5 o'clock. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the plant hasn't started doing anything over there on Herb Street, has it?
Not that I've seen, and I do drive by that a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, kinda hard not to. Next item of business is introduction of Francis Cornatti.
Cornati.
Okay. Hi,
Hi,
welcome to the commission.
thank you, thank you.
What did you think?
Interesting, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah,
Shot.
I'm very concerned about, you know, the environment and keeping the lands that need to be kept without buildings, and when there is building, that it protect the environment, and I like what you're doing so far, I like what I hear. I live at Brownstone Gardens 3, and I'm on the main floor, so I'm looking out over, I can't see it anymore, but there is a pond there. And that's what got me started in, you know, the interest of, you know, what's happening there. I don't know if you know kudzu, that very invasive vine. It's invading that whole conservation area, and I'm really worried. It grows very quickly. I have experience with that in Florida, And the state of Florida has banned it, so our housing complex was 28,000 people where I lived, and there were separate association boards on the property, and I was president of one of the boards, and we had to do something about it. There's no question. When it started, you just see the small plant, you have to get rid of it immediately. And so our management company has not done anything about it, and it's now a wall of maybe 8 feet trailing, and I've got pictures to show you if you're interested. But so that's why I see these things. You know, I worry about the beavers in the pond and the pollution, because I used to have a garden on the other side by Brownstone 1. And, you know, it says no fishing, people fish there all the time. So I figure if this is happening in one place, the chances are that there's a lot of work to be done. So here I am to help out,
Alrighty.
if I can.
Those invasive species can be removed, but it's something, you know, it is near the resource area, and how it's defined there is the bank of the water is what's called the border of the resource area. The buffer zone starts at the bank, just like it would from the border of a wetland, a delineation of a wetland. But that is something we do approve things like that, and you can definitely do it.
And I sent
You are
the
supposed to
wonderful
apply. Is this the
email.
one where it came up a few months ago?
So, yeah.
And I said someone from the board of directors needs to file an RDA.
And I sent them a wonderful email that was sent to me, I forwarded to them, and I haven't heard anything back as to what they're doing, but hopefully they will.
They
But-
probably don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, they do know. I
Well, I
know.
mean, invasives are rampant everywhere. People don't even realize that 90% of the time.
They do know. I mean,
You've notified them.
oh yeah, it
Yeah.
has changed the whole view. And it's moving into what is conservation area and not owned by anyone. That's what, you know, why the commission probably could look at it in the future, but I have encouraged them to file it and to take care of it. I mean, I can't make them do it, but.
And feel free to come on Friday.
I don't know where to go. I mean, some of the places I don't know. I mean, if I could
Yeah,
meet
cool.
somebody, I would really like that. Also, my car might not make it into muddy areas. I don't have an SUV
we're-
or anything.
Now, we usually park on the street
Oh,
and that
okay,
sort of thing, yeah.
okay.
Old Farm Road is off of Pease
Okay, I know where that is.
Prospect.
or
So
Prospect
that's where
too,
you're
yeah.
meeting?
Well, Prospect,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're
get
meeting
off
there at
both, yeah.
5?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, Old Farm.
Yep.
Where on Old
The
Farm
old
Road?
farm's
101.
on Keys,
101.
at the intersection of, was it Cross Meadow or something?
Okay.
You can access it from going up Prospect Street and making a left turn onto Prospect Hills, and just, it winds down around, and then there's a cross street, well, it's the first street on your right, and that goes down and connects into Old Farm. There's only like about 6 houses on that street, it's not very long. And then you make a right onto Old Farm, and it's basically the first house on the left. It's a white, well, it used to be white.
Used to be white.
Kind
You
of.
think
I
it'll
think
be on Google Maps?
I think it's blue
Yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah, you can
Good,
find it.
because
Google
I have my
Maps. It's-
GPS.
Yeah.
Can I have someone's phone number so that if I am lost for some reason?
We'll get-
Sure.
Thank
And
you.
if you come in tomorrow, we'll get you
Ready?
the roster.
Okay, thank
With
you.
all the contact information.
Okay, thank you. Yes, then I'll be there.
And Redstone Quarry is essentially behind Graziano's off of Elm Street. The flower shop where they sell the trees and all that,
Where is that?
on Elm Street, heading towards Allen and Cooley.
And are we meeting there?
That's the one after Old Farm.
That's the
Oh,
hidden
oh.
ponds where
That's the
red-
hidden
Oh, that's
ponds
where
one,
Hidden
yeah.
Ponds is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
off of Redstone Drive.
So it's behind Graziano Gardens.
Well, you just follow Redstone Drive all the way down to the
Yeah.
end, you can't miss it.
If you're heading towards Allen and Cooley, you take the left right before Graziano's.
So is everybody going from Old Farms
Farm.
Road to
Yeah.
there? Good, I'll follow.
Yeah.
Safest way. And to be timely, you know, so we're
Yeah.
all there at the same time.
Next one on the agenda was review and comments for the planning board from the Conservation Commission. XL dryer, I'm assuming everybody got that.
Yeah. Oh, is
That
it-
was one where they're doing some modifications to the building, which minimally affects what they were doing to the work inside the 100-foot buffer zone, which I think it was maybe only 10 feet of work that they were doing that was actually on the other side of the curbing, the edge of the parking lot, towards the building. That was still in the buffer zone, but only for about 10 feet.
Yeah. And basically, they're just squaring off these corners.
Right. So I really didn't have any issues with it. Yeah, yeah, that's the 100-foot line right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the 100-foot line runs right along here, and that's where they're doing the building, so.
And basically, they're just, instead of angling those two corners, they're squaring them off on the new construction. What should be-
So I guess if we could, comments for the planning board, we could draft a letter or a memo saying that the commission has no concerns or issues with the proposed alterations in the plan.
Sounds terrific. Thank you.
Policies and procedures. One of the ones I had for that was, we sent a memo out a few weeks ago about changing the form to the filing instruction form that Jeff did.
Yep.
And can we get that changed, or?
I think it is changed. I put up the new one, I think, on the website. Is that for the?
I saw the old one there still like yesterday. Or it's actually in two different spots, I think.
If you could, when you find stuff like that, if you could just copy paste the URL and send it to me so I can find it, just because the.
You want me to copy paste?
Right click.
Just because the website's a little confusing and I'm still trying to figure
Yeah.
out, sometimes it takes me to one page and sometimes to another.
Mhm.
So,
And I did see that the posting of the commissioners is on the public notice page in the front now, so that's a good thing. Anybody else have anything?
I just had a question. Because we had a couple of vacancies, I took it upon myself to draw up an ad and gave it to Tom Florence, but so far I haven't seen anything in a reminder as far as telling people that we've got vacancies and
Well, we have a
basically
town
what we do.
manager back, I guess, yeah, so.
it's posted on the website in two places, and I also put up in the library, they have two bulletin boards, it's up there. So-
Wasn't there an email sent out about some kind of posting in the reminder that it was gonna be done as a public notice or something like that, or?
We're working on that. We're trying to save $400. It will cost $400 to publish.
I put the ad in the reminder?
I saw something online before I came in and found out, more, but I did see the one online.
does that come out of the Conservation Commission budget, or how does that?
We're also working on that with Sarah. We have limited amount in our advertising budget, so if we can use your Conservation Commission funds, one of the 3 funds, then we will do that.
Because I told Tom I thought we had plenty of money in the conservation funds that, it was a necessity to access those to get the ad out so we can let people know.
I have a meeting with Sarah on Friday.
Next item was the bylaw revision discussion. And people look at we had one that was marked up that the director sent out, and then I forwarded one that was from Agawam, which is what I thought we were kind of doing a few months ago. And in my opinion, I just thought the one from Agawam was clean, it's one page, done. And I don't think we need to have this be 4 or 5 pages long.
I also thought the one from Agawam was pretty concise, just boom, there it is. And basically, it just goes by what the regulation says.
Yeah, essentially that's it.
I mean, there's no set fees, it just says, yeah, we can hire an outside consultant and, you know.
I read it. Seemed pretty straightforward to me. I didn't read it in comparison to what Connie had submitted, so as far as like a comparison, I can't give an opinion on that.
So my proposed amendment was to repeal the fee schedule strictly. I didn't look at any other piece, just the fee schedule, which is inserted into the general bylaw. So if you'd like to amend your bylaw and repeal, so this is my suggestion, is that you look at the current Conservation Commission bylaw and you let us know, we can have a discussion, you can bring it in, we can provide copies, let us know what you want to strike. Because there will have to be a public hearing, it has to be presented to the town council, because it is general bylaw, and they will take that under advisement and refer it to the subcommittee, and then back to you, I believe,
For a final review.
for final. I'm used to doing the planning board bounce, not used to doing Conservation Commission bounce. So, but I do know that it will have to go to town council. So perhaps the next meeting, we can bring you the written bylaw that pertains to the Conservation Commission. We can go through it, because you will have to go through it line by line. Or you can do it at home and then bring it in if you want.
So you're talking about doing the entire bylaw now?
Well,
Is it-
that's, all I was repealing was the fee schedule. What you saw from Agawam was there, I believe, I don't have it in front of me, but maybe I do, wait.
No, this is, I have it right here. This just says, under general law, this is just the rules for hiring outside consultants. So this is just a part of their general law, it's not the entire
All right.
bylaw.
And so that we were just talking about using that in place of
The fee schedule.
10.011.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're looking at, it looks like this is a policy, not part of their general bylaw or their zone. Let me just talk to the people in Agawam and see where this is, where this lives. If it's a policy, then you can vote to amend your policy at any time. But you still will have to repeal the fee schedule from the general bylaw, the way that it's structured, which we can do, that's fine. It's not,
Yeah,
it's just striking all that language.
If
Right,
it just
just
say
have
it's
to make sure
a
there's no
rule that was
crossover
adopted.
to replace one for the other.
Yeah. So let's work on that for the next meeting. We'll get you your documents that you need. You can take a look at it, maybe, and email me any comments that you have. Because at the same time, if you want to make any other changes to your Conservation Commission bylaw, you should do that at this time.
It would be good if we could try and just get this put in as a policy or something, because, you know, right now we still can't hire anybody for doing peer reviews or anything. Because we really don't have the money unless we got some kind of waiver signed and that sort of thing, but.
Well, you can, and I'm going to meet with Sarah on Friday, so we can talk about that, because we have 3 accounts. You have 3 Conservation Commission accounts, 53G, Conservation Fund, and a Wetlands Account Fund. There are 3 different accounts. So, one, we're tracking when they were adopted, each of them. We have some of that resolved. And then what you can use the monies for, and those are stipulated under the Massachusetts, under the statute. So, we'll get that in order. She's been backlogged First, it was the budget that took a tremendous amount of her time, and she sends her sincere apologies for her delay in responding to the inquiries. But she promises that on Friday, we will get together and we will draft the memo. She will draft the memo with the information for the Conservation Commission. She thought she would be able to get it for tonight, but she just had one more something else she had to address. And then, you know, we've had some changes in our town, in our staffing at Town Hall. And I believe you all know that our town clerk is leaving at the end of September, right? You all know that? Okay. So, we have our acting town manager, so now we have somebody who can sign things, documents, and we're regrouping, if you will. But if you want to simply make a policy change, you should have a public hearing, because you're going to be changing a policy. Well, let me double check on that. Again, I'm thinking of planning board, okay? So let me just get your Conservation Commission information in order. It's always good to have a public hearing so that people know what's going on. You want to adopt a policy, people can chime in or not. Okay, and then we'll look at the advertising budget and see where you can expend, but just be mindful, $400 is about 20 hours worth of someone's work. Yeah. And Frances came to us because she came to my window, and I wouldn't let her leave without signing, without filling out.
Well, the reason that I drafted the ad the way it was is because somebody might not even know what the heck we do. And what I was trying to do is to, instead of saying, Conservation Commission has a vacancy, anybody interested, please submit a letter. It kind of tells them what we're doing and what we're about. So somebody who doesn't know may say, oh, it might spark an interest. So, oh yeah, hey, well, maybe something I want to get involved in.
It was very well written.
Is it posted on LCAT?
No.
We'll certainly do that.
We could do that.
Send me anything.
Yep, we will do that.
That's good.
Thank you, Don.
We'll even run this little discussion in the news for this week.
Great.
What format? Does it matter, PDF or PowerPoint?
You don't, actually, just in the body of an email is almost the easiest thing.
Yeah, she just used to make the slides for me.
Yeah.
From that, yeah.
Because my whole thing is get it out to as many people as possible to see it, so we can maybe generate some interest and get some people to serve.
Can I ask how many more people you need on the commission to make it complete?
We need one, but I have a feeling we're going to lose another one very shortly.
Oh, okay.
So,
So you'll be needing one right now and one potential. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you have any friends,
did you want to discuss this?
not in lieu of book group,
I was
you
gonna
can
wait
go
for
to
that.
Conservation Commission.
Gonna wait.
We don't serve wine though.
No,
I left a couple
I
other
don't
things
drink.
off today too.
I read all the
did you get
documents on
this?
the government website, so if
Thanks.
someone can read through those, then they probably could be on the commission.
And we have training, so through the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, they offered webinars and other training.
That's good.
And I believe we're going to actually sign you up for one, so
Thank
come
you.
see us tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
They have a lot of half-hour lunchtime, like 12:30 webinars, where you can just do it on your own computer at home or wherever.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
I'm used to webinars.
The handbook is the best thing to read too,
Okay.
in the beginning, because it's not as technical as reading the actual bylaw itself, but it does cover quite a bit of it, and it is a much easier read.
Okay.
The unfortunate piece is that they only provide it electronically now. They don't
That's
provide
fine.
this hard copy.
I
so-
read,
Yeah.
I went to the Massachusetts Commission, and I read a lot of the documents online, which is probably part of the handbook.
Mm-hmm, yep.
We'll get you a card and a membership number.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody have anything else?
Let's see, well, the only other thing wasn't there address it.
Good. Oh, the fine and the fee schedule, yeah, that's the $300 a day?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's fine.
yeah.
It's kind of what most other towns have
$300 a day for a.
for a fine. If you commit a violation, you can get fined up to $300 a day. And every day after that, it's a new fine, a new violation. And that's just kind of pretty much copying the Mass General Law and what is allowed of it.
So you want to add this to the?
No,
fee
we
schedule?
had it on there to discuss it, to see if we wanted to change it.
I think we can discuss it in mass with the other, no?
We'll get you, you know, we'll do, if you'd like, I had provided a template that the zoning administrator had created for general bylaw violations. Excuse me, for zoning bylaw violations.
Yeah, that was like the ticket.
The ticket, so we'll just
And
change
that's
it to
fine.
read, and then you can look at it
Mm-hmm,
at the next meeting, sound good?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else?
In the packet, there was a inventory list of what's in the office already for equipment. I don't know if you saw that. It's just
I didn't see that.
partial page. I put it in here somewhere now, I lost it. And basically, there's just a couple of conservation caps, and there is a 100-foot tape in there, Tony.
There
Oh, there's still caps in there? I was just gonna say Francis is gonna get a cap.
Get a bright orange cap.
Yep, there's 2 hats and a tape.
Yeah, well,
So
here
if
it
you
is.
want the tape for Friday at the office, I just didn't bring it. I don't want it to get lost tonight.
I did have one other one also.
You guys want a cap? You guys
Weren't
have
there
your own
some
cap?
vests? Didn't we have some vests at one time, or hard hats?
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
we got those.
Yeah, I got
on
those.
on North Main Street.
North Main Street.
Yeah, we went to
I
that.
brought them to you, those were from DPW.
Oh, I kept mine.
I think we should get some nice golf shirts, engraved, you know.
Make a new
Those
logo.
weren't conservation
Yeah, I-
equipment.
I think that,
I don't
you
know
know,
that list.
White polo shirts with new
button
logo,
down.
couple of nice caps,
The,
boots.
Teal.
I did have one other one that everybody got
Feels
sent.
that
They returned to the
measuring tape, a
1970s.
handle, or is it just a pull-out?
I think it's a pull-out,
But
Yeah.
but it's on a wheel.
yeah, you just turn, yeah, okay.
It's on a wheel, the tape?
What's it look like? I'm
Is it on a
being
wheel when
facetious,
you
don't
just-
answer that.
Not
No,
the
no,
standing one,
it's a
not the
hat.
one you.
Like the one I had, yeah.
Oh, that's the one I want.
We can all bring one, Tony.
Okay.
The only other one I had that I wanted to bring up is we got an email with these 2 letters, one from the fire department and another one from the police department for
244
Shaker Road.
Yeah.
And you were kind of asking us in there to keep this in mind while we were deliberating, right? It concerned me because this doesn't concern us as Conservation Commission. We are concerned with how the proposed project affects the wetland. Parking and traffic and that sort of thing should not affect our decision. The fire truck and that sort of thing is really not our purview. It's a planning board issue. And I just wanted to be sure that you understand that, and it doesn't. It's not our concern about parking and traffic and that sort of thing when we are deliberating on filings.
So the reason that was brought to your attention is because they're revising the site plan. So what you saw previously probably will come.
They're coming
before
back
you.
to us. Yeah.
Correct.
And that's why they're revising. So that's a point of information for you,
Yep.
so that you're.
I just have a question on that. Why, after all these months, are we just are the police and fire just commenting? I mean, this project was started like months ago.
Well, the planning board did implement a new policy where they want all of the comments on letterhead. So when we reminded them that we needed comments on letterhead, I think that it just jogged their memory that they hadn't provided the comments previously, so.
So that's where those were originated from.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.